Thank
Mr.
you.
Davis, do you have any questions for Ms. Sherman?
Absolutely. Was the judge Marion Broderick, the acquaintance? You said you had a friend that referred Anne and her sister.
Marion Broderick is not a judge, so no, it was not Marion Broderick. It was a former colleague of mine who is a judge now.
Not Marion Broderick. Is Marion Broderick involved in this at all?
Involved in my
Hiring? Do you have any relationship with her?
I do not have a relationship with Marion. I know who Marion is.
Okay. Prior to estate planning, were you friends with Christy Peterson?
I was not.
Confusing, but what they want you to swallow is that my mother, a working attorney till the day she died, for 35 years on Cape Cod, would bring a woman that she doesn't know into her home to do a last minute will, which excludes her son only and gives her daughter everything and signs over her home to them. Again, with a woman within a law office 12 miles from my mom's house that she had never met and needed an outside recommendation of a judge. Does that pass the smell test?
Do you know that she has a friend who's an estate attorney named Sarah Cole? Careful.
Sarah Cole used to work for me, and she's not an estate planning attorney.
Okay, well, that's how I found her. Why did Christy Peterson choose a
She's
revocable?
not an estate planning attorney.
I think she is.
Go ahead, Mr. Davis.
Why did Christy Peterson choose to do a revocable?
Hold on a second, Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis, if you don't like the answer to the question, you don't get to comment about it. You get to ask questions of the witnesses and then either accept the answers,
Accepted.
move on. Okay, go ahead.
How confident were you that the daughters and hospice care workers of a terminally ill woman did not use their influence to get estate plans custom made for their desires and not your clients?
Extremely confident. I would not execute documents. I've been doing this for a very long time. And I would not execute documents if I thought someone was being unduly influenced in any way. So very confident.
Even though she had 5 weeks to live.
I answered your question. I was very confident. You asked if I was confident. Yes, I was very confident that Christy was working with me, doing what Christy desired to do.
What was the reason my mother gave for the custodianship of the Chatham home for 5 years?
The question that you're asking does not make sense in a way that I can even formulate a response, Your Honor. I'm sorry, that doesn't make sense to me.
Objection.
Well, hold on a second. She said she can't answer the question, so she can't answer your question, and I respect the witness's answer
All right.
to your question, saying that she can't answer it. So either
Okay.
move along.
All right.
Or
Clarification.
answer the question, Mr. Davis.
Clarification. In the trust, my sisters are given custodianship of the home for 5 years, correct?
Objection.
What's your objection?
My objection is that the terms of the estate have absolutely nothing to do with this person.
You brought it all up. I'm sorry.
Hold on a second. This isn't an opportunity for you to address her. You're addressing me. What's the response to the objection that the terms of the trust have nothing to do with the personal protection order?
She is bringing in this attorney to show that the reason for my, I guess, misbehavior is that I don't believe their stories. And Mr. Sherman is there as a witness to make their stories credible. So I am questioning their story.
I'm going to sustain the objection. I'm not interested in the terms of the estate. I don't think it's relevant to the issue that's in front of me today. Move along, Mr. Davis.
Ms. Sherman, it seems from the day she died that you took an adversarial relationship with me and represented my sisters only. And I had good reason to question that. Did my mother give you instructions to exclude me from the estate planning?
I take issue with everything in that question because it's.
Can you answer the question whether or not the party's mother gave you specific instructions to exclude Mr. Davis from any communications regarding planning?
Mr. Davis was not my client.
Your client, okay, your client's Christy Peterson. Upon her death, aren't you supposed to explain the estate to the beneficiaries?
Objection.
No,
Hold on a second. Overrule the objection. What's your obligation upon her death as it may relate to Ms. Lang, her sister, or Mr. Davis? What's your obligation?
as I explained in emails that I would be more than happy to provide the court, more than happy to send them like almost immediately. I just have to dig them out. My obligation first is to determine whether I'm even engaged. And then, once I'm engaged, to work with my clients, who will be the fiduciaries of the estate, to begin the administration, which takes some time to determine whether there's a probate, to determine value issues, things like that, and to send notices whenever required to interested parties, whether they are an heir at law or a beneficiary of an instrument. And in the course of that communication, as I indicated in communications to you, Patrick, I do take very seriously the role of trying to make sure people are informed of everything.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Davis, do you have any questions for Ms. Sherman?
Absolutely. So was the judge Marion Broderick, the acquaintance? You said you had a friend that referred Anne and her sister.
Marion Broderick is not a judge, so no, it was not Marion Broderick. It was a former colleague of mine who is a judge now.
Not Marion Broderick. Is Marion Broderick involved in this at all?
Involved in my
Hiring? Do you have any relationship with her?
I do not have a relationship with Marion. I know who Marion is.
Okay. Prior to estate planning, were you friends with Christy Peterson?
I was not. I was not to provide that.
Any other questions, Mr. Davis?
Yes. I'm going to read a statement I got from Ms. Sherman on June 22nd. This is 17 days after my mother's.
Well, hold on a second. Is there going to be a question?
Yes,
associated with
of
it?
course.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello, Patrick. I have a meeting scheduled next week about this matter, and I expect I will be formally engaged at that time. By the way, I was not sent any information for 13 weeks. I'm not sure on what authority you are basing your demands, but I can tell you that your demands, which started a day or two after your mother passed away, are unfortunate at best. Miss Sherman, I had just lost my...
Reading that?
Yes, is that your email?
Hold on a second. Mr. Davis, what is your question?
My question is, did you send that?
Your Honor,
Sherman?
there's more to that. If he's going to read a portion of it, there's more to that.
I can read the rest.
Well, hold on a second. I appreciate that there's more to the email and that you may be reading it out of context, but you're admitting that you at least wrote that portion of the email. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
All right, go ahead. You have another question?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes. You've been doing estate planning for 19 years. You never said, my condolences, I'm sorry about your mother's passing. Is that correct?
I'm going to find that to be irrelevant. We're moving down a path whether or not this particular witness expressed condolences about your mother's passing having anything to do with whether or not your sister is deserving of a personal protection order. You yourself, Mr. Davis, when Ms. Lang was presenting Ms. Sherman as a witness, didn't want me to hear issues that relate to the estate. And
I am establishing...
put an end to that, and now we're digging into that a bit further than I think we need to as it relates to Ms. Lang. So I'm
Agreed.
going to find